Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I do hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video. This is Back to Basics with Microsoft Flight Sim part 27 already. In this video I'm going to be going over some very basic autopilot procedures and principles. Essentially, I put up a community post about 7 days ago now, so a week ago, asking if there's any procedures that people are still stuck on. A few people replied to that community post, so I'm going to be going over and answering some of your questions in this video. Okay, so let's not dilly-dally. Let's get on with this video. So, as per usual, I'm at runway 27 at London City Airport, Hoddesdon International. Nothing unusual there. Let's bring up the first question that somebody asked on that community post. It's from Canary Irish. Now, Canary Irish is a regular poster in my videos that I release, and he asked a couple of questions there. The first question I already covered in the last video in the Back to Basics series. That was the vertical navigation. He was asking at certain points if you have altitude showing on your G1000. So if you're following something like a VNAV, should you be at that altitude by the time you reach that point? And I answered that, as you can see, saying yes. Before you reach that point, you should be at that altitude, or at that point, you should be at that altitude on the altitude restrictions. So I've covered that previously. But his second question there, a little bit more basic there, but he was asking things about the buttons on the G1000, the flight director, the altitude hold mode button, the vertical navigation, which I've just showed you, that I've just covered in the previous Back to Basics video, the vertical navigation video. Go and watch that if you need to refresh your memories. And he talked about the back course mode button. This is really subject for a video all on its own. It's quite a complex procedure, the back course mode, or it can be, and it's for certain ILSs that support that. So I may cover that in an upcoming video. It's going to make this video far too long if I covered it in this video, so I'll probably cover that one in another video. But let's concentrate on the flight directors and the altitude hold mode. In your G1000, as you can see here, these yellow lines are showing your current heading for your aircraft. It's basically in the attitude indicator here, showing your aircraft's current position. So if I was to take off and pitch up, you'll notice these yellow lines pitch up. If I pitch down, you'll notice them pitch down. If I bank left or right, you'll notice them bank left or right. It's basically, like I said, your aircraft's current position. If we press the flight director button, you'll notice a couple of purple lines will come up just above the yellow lines. It's basically a guidance system, the flight director. So if you're in autopilot mode, which I'll show you in a moment, and you're banking left or right, you'll notice the purple lines will bank left or right first. It's basically telling you, or the autopilot, this is the position. It'll be banking in a certain gradient. This is the gradient you need to position your aircraft in to follow the instructions you've just set up. I'll be showing you that in a moment. So basically, it's a guidance indicator, and in something like the airliners, so the 146, A320, 737, the flight director will show differently. And if you program something into your flight management system, I don't want to get that into that too much in this video, but if you were to program certain routes into your flight management system in the airliners, then the flight director will be showing you what gradient you should be pitching at and turning to follow the course. In the G1000, it's slightly different. In this case, well, I'll be showing you this in a moment. I'll be showing you the way the purple lines interact, the flight director interacts, and then the autopilot will follow the guidance from the flight director. It's quite straightforward in that sense. I'm going to press my B button. on my keyboard, I'm having to do that quite a lot to make sure that my altitude is correct above sea level. It's been happening to me a lot recently for some reason. Set my autopilot altitude to 1500 feet. Get back to my default cockpit view, throttle up, and let's just take off. Well, I'll sync my heading mode button as well. Left click and right click on the heading knob. So basically if I go into heading mode, it's going to follow that blue bug, as you can see there. Let's just concentrate on my takeoff. So left click, hold, and right click, it will just sync it to your current heading. And there we go. Pull back gently. Let the aircraft lift off the runway. And I'm just going to trim, as per my other videos, for positive rate of climb, so I don't need to hold my yoke back. Press my autopilot button and my heading button. I pressed it on my multi-panel, it's just easier for me. Now, if that happens, just press your vertical speed button. And vertical speed nose up. I've covered this in other videos as well. The aircraft started to sink. My trim wasn't correct, so I pressed my vertical speed nose up. I'm climbing at 400 feet per minute, which looks like it's just enough to clear those buildings. That's fine. Just going to move. I'll do it in the actual cockpit here. Move my heading bug to the right there. And actually, let's come down and show you this. So if I move my heading bug, mouse up on my heading, see the purple lines? The flight director is showing the autopilot where it should be pitching to follow that course. Just make sure that I'm clear of buildings. I am. I'll mouse down, bring it to the left. See the purple lines? The flight director will go first, and it's telling the aircraft where to bank. And then it's going the other way, and the aircraft, the autopilot, will follow suit to straighten out your aircraft once it gets to the heading. So let's show that in a more visual sense. I use my multi-panel. I'm going to bank, set my heading bug all the way to the right there, to the north. See, the purple lines are going first. The aircraft will then follow suit. The autopilot will follow suit. So it's basically guiding. It's like a guidance system for your autopilot in this case. Or if you were flying, there you go. It's coming back to the left to straighten up. Telling the aircraft this is where you want to be. So the yellow lines are following suit. The autopilot's following suit. And then it's brought us onto that course. Let's just come back to the right there, to the west. So I'll do this in the cockpit using my heading knob here. Actually, it's easier on my multi-panel, much easier. Do bear with me, I just find that much easier. So the purple lines, the flight director's saying this is the gradient you want to bank to. The yellow lines are following suit. Once it gets to that heading, see, the purple lines are going first, and then the yellow lines, your aircraft, the autopilot, will follow suit to straighten your aircraft up. So that's what the flight director is. While we're at this altitude, let's now press the altitude hold mode button. What it will do, it will level us off and keep us at the altitude where we press that button, which is around about here. So it will stop climbing us to that 1500 feet. I'm actually going to lessen that to 1300. And it's going to keep us at that altitude because I've got the altitude hold button on. If you want to continue climbing, and I'm going to cover this later because it's another question that I was asked, press your vertical speed button again and go vertical speed nose up, say 400 feet per minute. And whatever restriction you've entered here, it will keep climbing till you reach that 1300 feet. So that's quite straightforward. Okay, let's get on now to the another question that a different person has asked. So the next question comes from the real laughing gravy. It's a great name. But there you go. He's unsure of when to press the approach button when you're on an ILS. You can read it there for yourself. When is it too soon and when is it too late? So let's set up an ILS as we're heading in the general direction of Heathrow Airport. I'll bring up my flow and my VFR map here. And you can do this from the VFR map, so this might be another tip for you. I'll get to Heathrow Airport and click on Heathrow Airport. That wasn't Heathrow Airport. I might have to zoom in a little bit there so I can see it clearly. There we go. Click on the Heathrow Airport, EGLL. And if you scroll down on here, it will give you the ILS for 27 left and 9 left as well. It's basically, sorry, 9 right. It's basically the same ILS, so if you're approaching it from either end, you're going to enter the same ILS. So it's 109.5. And we can come down to our radio panel. Actually keep that up for you. And I'm going to use my radio panel that I've got set up. Why not? I've got these toys set up. So watch the nav frequency here. I'm going to change this via my radio panel 109. Do it with the knobs as well in the G1000. If you don't have the luxury of the radio panel. 05. And that's the ILS for runway 27 left. I'm going to swap that. And we should see the identifier come up for Heathrow Airport 27 left, which is correct. Going to move my change my CDI to lock 1. Remember, I've covered this in other videos, and it's going to show us the course deviation indicator here where we want to be lined up for that runway. And I'm just going to check. I'm about 10 nautical miles out, so I'm still in heading mode. I'm just going to move my heading to the left. Let me just slow down my aircraft. So over speed there. Just move my heading bug to the left there. And essentially what I'm waiting for here is for that course deviation indicator, the line, to come in so I can join it up with these other lines, which means we'll be heading directly for runway 27. I've covered this in other videos. Soon as I see that line come in though, I can press my approach mode button there. This is as soon as you can press that, and it will even follow our glide slope. I'll show you that. So let's slow my aircraft down. I'll get it towards flap speed now, so that before the glide slope indicator comes down, I'll be ready for flaps stage 1. There you go. I want about 1900 RPM here. That's about get us down to flaps 1 speed, or stage 1 flap speed, as you can see here. Just waiting for that line to move, and I'll move my heading bug. Let's do it up here. Sure that you can do it here, just to the left a little bit more, encouraging this course deviation indicator line to come inwards. How are we doing? It's real world weather over London. It's quite a cloudy day where I am. It looks like it's going to pour down any second. So wait for this line to come in. Still got flight director on, by the way. So anything that I'm doing there, the flight director will show us where we should be heading or pitching to. So waiting for this line, we're 7 nautical miles out, should start moving in any second. Just move my heading bug a little bit more to the left there. Come on, course deviation indicator, move in. Let's see if we can get a visual on Heathrow Airport, somewhere out there. Difficult to see for the clouds at the moment. Any second, this line will start to move in. So basically, all I did there was to enter the frequency for the ILS at 27 left and make it active. Identifier came up. I've covered this in other videos, but just press the CDI button to get into localizer 1 mode, lock 1 mode. And that will show us the course deviation line and goodness knows what. Indicator line here. High hopes for this, it will start to move in. And when it does, that's when I can press my approach button. So you can press it quite early, even before the glide slope indicator starts moving down. Any second now. I'm just going to wait for this. Keep this in real time for you so you can see. Just take a quick look at that glide slope indicator. Let's just see. Well, I can actually bring it up. Oh, there you go. It's moving in. So I can press the approach button. So I can press approach here, Glide slope is going to stay in white because the glide slope indicator has not come down, but the aircraft, the autopilot will line us up. Line these lines up, essentially. So you could press your approach mode this early, and it will follow even the glide slope when this starts to move down. Just watch my speed there, I didn't realise I was going so slowly, but we don't want to speed up too much, because we will start descending on the glide slope any second. So as you can see, the autopilot, by pressing that approach mode button, localizer will lock in green, so it's locked onto the localizer. Before you know it, it will lock onto the glide slope, because this will start moving down. Let's get to PFD options, press that button, and if you go to bearing 1, press that. It's not bearing 1 I wanted, sorry, ignore that part. Go to PFD options and press DME, your distant measuring. That's how far we've got to go to runway 27 left. So the glide slope indicator will start moving down. No, I'm not going to press anything else, it should just lock on. It's moving down now. Notice there's the purple lines as well. Keep an eye on them. So the flight director. So I press my approach mode button as you saw. As soon as that course deviation line came in, as long as you've got the right frequency and you've got the lines moving in, you can press it that early. There we go. Lower my throttle again just a tiny bit, because I'm going to go to flaps 1 now, stage 1 flaps. It's going to start descending any second. See, glide slopes, I've not pressed anything else, because I pressed my approach mode button before, when a course deviation line came in, it's actually also locked onto the glide slope for us, and will bring us down to runway 27. Isn't that fantastic? Oh, just got a massive, you might hear thunder, I just had a flash of lightning outside. As long as it doesn't carry through to my computer and blow me up. I'm not in London, so you won't see that here in the sim, although you might. Oh, there you go. Don't know if you heard that. Captured for prosperity in the stream. So there you go. It basically brings us all the way down. I've showed this in other videos. All the way down to runway 27 here. And I know if I skip this part, some people are going to be upset. So let's show you the whole procedure. Quite a busy day at London Heathrow there, as you can see. Put another stage of flaps in. Oh, I'll reset that. This is my Toby eye tracker. Do like this. As I've got nothing else to do, I can just look around the cockpit. Using my eyes, basically, and the Toby eye tracker. Like I said, I've always got it turned on. Are we doing that? Let's slow down the aircraft. We are descending, and I want to be around 70 knots. Another stage of flaps. So basically, full flaps now. That's going to slow us way down, which is great. Just keep an eye on that we don't go into stall speed. All very straightforward. So that approach mode, when it's too late, if you see the glide slope indicator move down and you've not pressed approach mode, so you're all lined up. Sorry, let me just take flow off for a Toby eye tracker off for a second so I can concentrate you on this screen without moving around. This glide slope indicator starts moving down and it goes below, so it's down here somewhere. You're all lined up, but you've missed it, and you press approach mode. You may find that it won't lock onto the glide slope. You've pressed your approach mode button too late, basically. So that glide slope indicator is below you, it's too far below you, and it can't lock on. That's when it's too late to press your approach mode button. But you can press it as early as when you see the lines start to come in, the course deviation line, as I showed you before. It's now all centered, of course. And there you go, it's bringing us down. It's not quite the perfect. This is under autopilot. It's not quite the perfect approach, is it? 1 white, 3 red. It should be 2 white, but it's not bad, is it? Now it's all red, saying we're too low. This is under autopilot control. As soon as we're over the runway, which is around about there. I'll take it off autopilot. Lower my throttle. Bring us back to centre line. And null my throttle now and just do a nice glide. And there we go. And bring us off to the left. All very straightforward whilst braking and raising my flaps. So there you go. Okay chaps, let's get on to the next question. So as I'm flying over the far west of the UK currently, near Penzance, looks like they're having a much better day of it than we're having in the southeast, I've got to say. It looks quite a nice day down here, doesn't it? I've got my my aircraft in manual control. I'm just a bit of wind around, so I'm just trimming out my aircraft for level flight. Show you a question. I'm just going to call you Ray on screen there. And he's saying he's having a bit of trouble with his autopilot. If he sets an autopilot altitude and presses autopilot, it doesn't always climb to that altitude. That's why I'm leveling out my aircraft to demonstrate this. Come on, level out. Say I had it leveled out. It's just been a bit awkward currently. So let me just level this out properly for you. That'll do. So if you set an autopilot altitude and press, let's go to 3,000 feet, press your autopilot button, doesn't always climb. Look, I press autopilot, it's in autopilot control, I've set my altitude, but nothing's happening. Because if you're leveled out, or near leveled out in flight, whenever you press that autopilot button, the state of your aircraft, so if I was banking left or right, or I'm in level flight like this, it will keep that state. To get the autopilot to climb, you're going to have to give it either a flight level change mode, or the easiest way I find is to go to your vertical speed button on your left banker buttons here, press that vertical speed, and you're going to give it a command to go vertical speed nose up at whatever range you want. Let's say at 400 feet per minute. So press that 4 times, vertical speed nose up. It's basically the nose up button here. And then the autopilot will climb. Let's lessen that altitude to 2,000 feet. We don't need to go to too much of an extreme. It will keep climbing. So if you're in level flight before you press, when you press autopilot and you give it a command to climb, it's not going to climb because it's going to stay in that state when you press autopilot. At the state you press autopilot, that's the state it will keep your aircraft in. So you're going to have to give it a further command of vertical speed and nose up. Let's just bring up Ray's question again. He did say different parts of that question as well. When he goes to a direct to in his autopilot and presses nav mode, it doesn't always follow and it doesn't go direct to. Depends on the situation of your aircraft. Let's go a direct to London City Airport. So I've showed this in other videos, but I'll show you again. Press your direct to button here on your right G1000, so direct to top button here on the left, on the right banker buttons, and I'm going to press this icon here, left click over this icon, it'll put it into keyboard mode. So if you've got a keyboard connected, you can simply just type in EGLC in my case. Come up London, press that icon again to take keyboard entry off, press enter, and then you've got to activate it for it to actually enable it in your autopilot, or enter it into your autopilot unit, your G1000. So press enter again, it will activate it. Now obviously if I press my nav mode button here, so I'm going to press nav, GPS will lock in green. Now Ray said it wasn't happening to him, so let's just click off nav and we'll let the autopilot do whatever it's doing here. It could be that you're in lock 1 mode. So if I press my nav button here, it won't come up a GPS now, it'll come up lock. Because basically if you're in localizer 1 mode, you're asking the autopilot, in this case, it's going to try and lock onto this localizer that's just there by default. It's going to lock onto the localizer, not the direct to that you've just entered. You see the aircraft's heading in the other direction. So it could be that you're in lock 1 or lock 2 in your CDI, so put it back to GPS. Now, we're heading away from it. It's actually doing a turn. If I press my nav button again, am I close enough? I'm not. It could be that you're too far away from your magenta line for whatever reason for it to follow the course. So what you want to do, you want to put your heading bug. In this case, it'll be about the, what would it be, northeast. So I'm going to move my heading bug to the northeast, which is near enough there anyway, and click on heading mode here. So we're putting it into heading mode now. So we are close to that magenta line. If I press nav now, there you go, it's locked onto our course and GPS is active, so it's going to follow our course. So Ray, it could be that you have your CDI in the wrong mode, localizer 1 or 2. You need to put it back to GPS mode. If you're too far away from that magenta line, we're close to it now, but GPS will be in white. You need to go into heading mode, set your heading bug in the general direction of that magenta line, and then click your nav mode when you get near it, and then you'll be locked onto it. So there you go, guys. Chaps, I hope that has helped. I've answered a couple of your questions and concerns. If you have more basic fundamental questions and concerns about the G1000, things you're not sure about, put them down in the comments section below. I can do follow-up videos on this. Do let me know your thoughts on the video, give it a like if you've enjoyed it and it's been helpful to you. Subscribe for more, many of these types of videos on their way, and I'll see you soon.